Percenter Podcast with Sam Bakhtiar, bringing you the 1% knowledge to help you reach your full potential. Learn what it takes to rise above the 99% and become a 1%er.
Hey guys, this is Sam Bakhtiar, the host of 1% Podcast, and today I got Ben Newman from St. Louis, Missouri in the house, man.
Great to see you always.
You took an Uber, got pulled over, all this shenanigans, but you still made it, man.
Hey, I didn't even take an Uber. I found out you don't even have Uber out here in LA anymore at the airport, so I had to get a car service lined up. We got it right, but he did get pulled over. But you and I have been fighting through adversity to make this happen, haven't we?
You know what? We taped this show on a Zoom call when you were in St. Louis, and I thought I was so happy because it was a great show. And then when we went to upload it, they had all kinds of problems with the internet and all kinds of problems with uploading. So I was so pissed when we reached out. I'm like, damn, Ben, we got to do this again. And you said, well, I'm coming to LA anyway. And it was a blessing in disguise. I got you in the house.
Everything works out for a reason.
No doubt, man.
Everything works out for a reason.
Well, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know you're here on business. You're working on with the Rams and all kinds of, sports team, man. So I appreciate taking a little bit of time
Absolutely.
to drive about an hour and a half away
Yep.
to come over to the thing. So Ben, let's talk about the beginning. Talk to me about the beginning. Where were you born? How was your family life? And how you come to be one of the top sought out mental toughness coach in the arena?
Well, for me, Sam, I had to grow up fast. Life will throw challenge and adversity at you, but how you respond is always the difference. And having the right people in your corner, which I was blessed to have, coaches and mentors in my life the whole way, teaching me that we do have this internal strength to get back up one more time than we've been knocked down. And the greatest example that I ever had was my mom. And a lot of my mentors and
Which
coaches.
you lost her at 8 years old, right? You were 8 years old when she passed away?
11 days before my 8th birthday, and a lot of my mentors and coaches call me an old soul. Parents divorced at 6 months old, never knew them together. Then my mother was diagnosed when I was 5 with a rare muscle disease called amyloidosis. And she was told that she had 2 to 4 years to live. Second woman under 40, one of the top 2 experts in the world had ever seen or heard of having the disease. And I watched my mom battle. I watched my mom fight. And my mom taught me that all of us have a tremendous level of fight within us, and how you show up in the perspective in which you approach your life makes all the difference in the story that you write.
So how did you learn that from your mom? Because obviously when your mom passed away, you weren't even 8 years old yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that something that you learn later after you replayed the tape of everything that your mom did? Because at 8 years old, it's kind of hard for you to comprehend that kind of lesson, right? So how did you learn that?
So there's the things that you see
Yes.
and you experience from the eyes of a 7-year-old, right?
Right.
So the 7-year-old perspective was, okay, mom just sat down at the dinner table with an IV stand. It took 2 nurses to get mom to the dinner table. Mom came down the hall from her room, which had a little TV room, then her bedroom. TV room turned into a hospital room, and mom just came from her hospital room that is in our home to ask me how my day was at school. So a 7-year-old boy, it's not the level of maturity to understand on a deep level exactly what happened, but you remember,
Yep.
that's how mom made it here. So then when you get older, and my mother's mom gave me a journal, whole box of my mother's belongings, and I opened up this journal, and the journal was a testament to where my mother released her positive mental attitude every day. And you open up this journal and it says, beat the statistics, beat the odds, live with the disease that is chronic and fatal, believe in yourself, combat anything, purpose in life. Then your adult eyes and mind realize what that 7-year-old saw was a fight and a purpose that my mother had, which was to lead her 2 boys no matter how much pain she experiences.
So your mother was doing affirmations before affirmations were even a word, right?
I've written books about my mother's journal. I mean, you see it in anything that I write about.
Leave your legacy.
Anything that I do, it's all based upon my mom and my fight. And the reason why is because, Sam, I'm not the only one with a story, right? I mean, you shared, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but coming from Iran and your family and the fight, we all have a story.
Yes.
Everybody listening,
Yes.
Everybody has a story. And if you choose to tap into your story and your burn and your internal fight, you will fight through pain rather than allowing the pain to take over your mindset.
That is amazing, man. I mean, we all have stuff that's happened to us. Nobody has gone through life undefeated. Everybody has been knocked down. You know what I mean? But if you look through and search within your soul and find that why, find that deep reason why you want to succeed, then you're just going to push through.
Yeah, perfect. For instance, the behind-the-scenes work that I do with the Los Angeles Rams, with their strength coach Ted Rath and some of the players. And with Coach Rath, one of the first conversations I had with him where we bonded was pain and adversity we've been through, right? So it's not wins, it's not losses, it's having a deep-rooted, real relationship where I understand what's in your heart. Because if I don't understand what's in your heart, I can't help you and we can't even have a real conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, me being here for this Seahawks game, the things that we're going to talk about, the things we're going to do leading up to that kickoff, it's all rooted in me understanding what's in his heart and the reason why he wants to motivate his guys to be their best. And we all have the opportunity to find that internal burn, but it's slowing down and taking the time to do it and then to drive your action because of it.
And that's so much deeper than just like, let's run a play. That's at a deeper level. You got to understand his heart. You got to understand his why. You really got to understand what he is trying to accomplish, internally, not just externally.
And so let's put it in the perspective of an entrepreneur who's watching this right now. That entrepreneur says, football doesn't apply to me. Maybe you don't even like football, right? Well, that entrepreneur watching, you have a choice. If you put pressure on yourself to results, then you have extreme pressure that actually takes over your mindset from taking the necessary action to actually achieve the results you desire. If you understand your burn, your purpose, your why, and you with intentional focus, just like you shared with me, I said, Sam, what do you do every single day, man? Right? You got 116 gyms, like this massive success. What do you do every day? And you said between 7 and 3, it's extreme focus on my work so that I can come home. Yeah. So there's a burn and a purpose that causes you to do what you do, rooted from your family story, but then there's intentional focus that you choose to have. So for all of us, no matter what your play clock is for the day, yours is a 6-hour time frame. If you intentionally focus on the things you can control and it's connected to your burn, you don't have the pressure.
Yeah.
And the results actually come. And people think that it's this complex, difference to get to this next level. It's not. Stay connected to what drives you and be intentional with the action you take.
It's the basics that always go to win the games and win life, isn't it? We were just talking about that. I was just talking to Isaac, my right-hand man, the other day. We watched a video, I don't know if you saw the video with Kobe Bryant, where he talks about he just stuck to the basics.
Yeah.
He just talked to the basics. I said, slam dunks look good, but layups win the game. You know what I mean?
No doubt. And it's when you talk about those layups, it's the thousands of layups that he would still practice when he was already great at a layup.
Yes. Yeah.
But you're still doing the basics.
Yeah.
And that's what makes people great. It makes me think whenever I'm at Alabama with the football program, if you were to come to a practice with me.
I mean, you guys have won how many championships?
There's 17 national championships. 17
national championships. I mean, that's a testament to you and what you've done with them.
Well, no, it's not.
It's a whole organization.
That's got nothing to do with me. I'm just blessed to be there to wave at the flames of their fire. Coach Saban is the greatest football coach of all time. And here's one thing he always says, and it speaks to Kobe Bryant's mindset. He says, we don't do things until we get them right. We do it until we can't get it wrong.
That is so true. I love that. Say that again one more time.
We don't do things until we get them right. We do things until we can't get them wrong.
So you do them until it becomes second nature.
Yeah, because I think of times in my life where maybe a coach tells me something, right? And you're young and you think, I got this. You do it 3 times. I got it. Yeah. And that coach is thinking, you got nothing. You've done it 3 times. Yeah. And that coach has seen it or taught it tens of thousands of times. Yeah. And that's what Saban is referring to in that mindset, because he doesn't want to just win championships. He wants maybe that walk-on player to go run a multi-million-dollar business one day.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. I'm just looking at a free throw line. You can't hit 4 or 5 free throws and say, okay, I made them all, so I'm 100% good at it. You know what I mean? If you can just do them and do them and do them. And I don't think there's anybody in the world, that's ever have a 100% free throw line shot, right?
Correct.
I think the highest I've seen is like 89, 90%. You can correct me wrong, but nobody, even at the highest level, Nobody has 100%. So that just means that you got to keep practicing. You keep practicing. No matter how much you practice, you can always go and get more done. So tell me, you said you found your mom's journal.
Yeah.
And I think on the last time we talked, you said you didn't find it till like years later. And actually, when you found it, you didn't want to look at it. You put it aside and you went back. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I mentioned that my grandma gave it to me, and my grandma actually gave it to me in a 2 men in a truck box. I was a junior in college at Michigan State University, and I go to my grandparents' apartment, and she hands me this box. And I take the lid off the box, and I'm an emotional dude. I mean, I cry when I watch Extreme Home Makeovers,
Same, bro.
you name it.
Same.
So I take the lid off the box, and inside this box is letters from my mom's doctor to her, letters my grandparents had written to the doctors, all this correspondence. And then there's this old blue Mead notebook. And I take this out and I read the first page of it. And I could tell my mother's handwriting. There's emotion in these words on this first page. And I cried like a baby. And I put it back in the box. I put the lid on the box, junior in college. And Sam, I was not ready at that point in time for me to take in what was in that journal. Yeah. So I thank my grandma for the box. I take the box with me. I wrap it in 2 rolls of duct tape. I'm not going in that box. And as I share this story, I want everybody to think who's listening right now, what's in your box right now? The box that you haven't decided to open yet.
Wow.
Because we all have it, right?
Wow.
And so to me, I think, okay, here's this box. I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to go there. That's a junior in college. So I'm 21, 22 years old?
That's 12 years later.
I don't open that box until I'm 27 and my wife is pregnant with our first child and we're moving from the townhouse that we live in to the house. And there's all these clear plastic tubs in our garage. We're getting ready to move and my wife looks at me and says, "Babe, what's in that box?" So it's all clear. Not as clean as this garage. This is the nicest garage I've ever been in my life, but ours is pretty tiny. And so there's all these clear plastic tubs, and in the upper right, there's the box. My wife goes, "Babe, I've always wanted to ask you, what is in that box?" I pull the box down, rip it open, read the first page again, crying like a baby. She takes it, reads it cover to cover, brings it back, gives it to me, and says, "You have to read this. You are exactly like your mother." And so here I am. I'm now a 27-year-old man, getting ready to have my first baby, and I finally take in this entire journal, and I realize that me and my mother were exactly the same. Think about what I shared earlier. Beat the statistics, beat the odds, live with a disease that is chronic. I was already speaking. So the first paid speaking engagement for me was 2006. This was about 2007 when this happened. I'm already speaking of these things, yet I hadn't read that from the journal. And so that's where people say, like, how do you remember? I mean, 11 days before your 8th birthday, what do you really remember from your mom? If that's all the time you have, you remember a lot.
That's crazy.
And it's amazing how you're influenced by the people in your life.
At such an early age.
At such an early age. And so that transformed my thinking, my life, and it made me realize that I was doing something that would ultimately connect people on a daily basis to their stories and ripping open that box for them. And thank goodness I ripped the box open and I was able to write a book called Fight the Good Fight about it. And so for me, it's every day me staying connected to continuing to write my mother's story and her legacy and your legacy and Isaac's legacy and everybody's legacies. That's what it's all about.
Wow. Wow, bro. So you are one of the most sought out after, mental toughness coaches.
My mentors are those guys. I'm just trying to keep up with them.
Well, you're doing a great job, man. You're doing a great job.
I'm trying the best I can.
So let's talk about mental toughness.
Yep.
What does it take for someone, in your opinion, to be considered mentally tough? Because I see so many people now that, gosh, for a lack of better words, they want stuff. They want to achieve things, but they're not willing to pay the fucking price. And that drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Ben, that drives me crazy.
So let's get real. The reality is the world that we live in today is that people flee from challenge and adversity.
Yep.
They don't want any part of challenge and adversity. And not that I would want anybody watching to have gone through what you went through, to see what you saw with your 2 eyes, what I've seen with my 2 eyes. I wouldn't want anybody to go through that. But the reality is people have been protected at such a significant level that if you say, what's the worst piece of adversity you've been through? Oh man, the ice cream cone. The ice cream fell off my cone at Baskin Robbins.
Hey, real quick before I forget, I don't mean to cut you off, but did you see that the Peloton crap that went on a couple of days ago?
No.
So Peloton stocks went down. They lost $1 billion because they put out a commercial. They put on a commercial where a husband is gifting a Peloton bike to his wife. And the wife is like, oh my gosh, this is going to be tough. So the wife is kind of struggling day one. The show is struggling day two. She's documenting her journal. And people was like, oh, she's not good enough for him? Like, she's getting a bike because she's not happy with the way she looks. They're like, she needs a psychiatrist and a lawyer. People were saying that. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, America. Like, you mean to tell me if I'm giving an exercise bike to my wife, and it wasn't like the actress wasn't like this big old lady or something like that were insinuating anything. It was just a regular person. So I think that in this lifetime, like you said, we've been protected.
Everybody's protected everywhere.
I said, I think Andy and I call it pacification. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, no, you can't even say what you want to. People avoid confrontation, but yet they confront you on fucking line. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when I had an issue with you,
finger pirates.
Hey, back in the day, if I had an issue with you, we're going to be nose to nose. We're going to be having a stare down. We might have to throw a few blows, and after that, we're going to go have a beer and have some McDonald's and we call it a day. Not passive aggressive crap. Get on behind the line and write emails or make comments on social media.
Andy's a great example, bringing up Frisella. Yeah. Andy's a guy, because people pay attention to the shit they want to pay attention to. Yeah. Oh, Sam puts his cars out here, Andy puts his cars. How about asking the question, what have you been through? Yeah. Tell me about your fight. Tell me about the days you didn't want to do it. Hey, Andy, tell me about your first day, $7. And then like the first month you sold 145 and you decided to stay in business when most people would have quit. Yeah. Nobody wants to know that. They want the easy path. Yeah. And if you really look at Andy's somebody who reads all the time, strives to have people around him that push him to be better, does all the right things. But the protected society we live in, they want to go, look at this guy who flashes cars. Look at this guy who flashes a house. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we pushing to look for the wrong things rather than looking to say, this guy might be an unbelievable example. Look at what Sam's overcome, 116 gyms, and now built a life where he can say, here's my start time, here's my end time, those are my bookends, and everything else is family time. So why are you ridiculed for having this beautiful garage, only a couple of the cars in here, why are we ridiculed because you've worked hard in order to have the life that people desire when they expect you to give them the easy route? I
don't understand it either, man. I feel like, you're ridiculed if you wear a tank top and go to the gym and you look good. You're ridiculed if you make some money and you happen to be successful. You're ridiculed if you go out on social media and give information and help people. It's crazy because I think it's easier for someone to sit back and criticize and for them to actually go out and fucking do it. That's what it is.
So here's the message, because a lot of times people hear this and then they get more angry. They say, well, there they go, but they don't understand us. And the reality is, let's go back to what the hard part is. My initial speaking engagements, Sam, I would get a coffee cup sometimes. Yeah. How do you come home and tell your wife, look at this beautiful coffee cup they gave me for speaking? Yeah. I remember I went to San Diego. They give me a picture book. Okay? The picture book was signed by everybody that was sitting in the audience, and they paid my expenses. How do you explain to your wife that the vision is, I'm going to travel all over the world, I'm going to write books, I'm going to coach people, I'm going to work with sports teams, yet you got a picture book and they paid your expenses? That doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah, that doesn't pay the bills, man. I think as wives, I know my wife will be pissed, and your wife probably will be pissed too, because they're protectors. But what we know is this: what you and I know, that what we do right now is not going to pay right now. It's going to pay in 6 months or a year. So we plant the seeds and we plant the seeds and we plant the seeds. You know what I mean? And you have planted the seeds. I bet you have done so many free speaking engagements.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Free. Going out there just giving value till one day somebody approached you and said, Ben, you're fucking good. I want to pay you. And you probably were like, you want to pay me? Like, oh, cool. I was just going to do it for free.
So it's great that you bring this up, and that really hammers home that point, which is people want everything that you have, but they don't ask, how did you get there? So it was coffee cups, it was picture books. My first speaking engagement in sports, okay, 2011. My high school basketball coach, because what people see is, oh, he's there for he worked professional teams, collegiate teams, all these things. My first talk in sports, my old high school basketball coach calls me in 2011.
Wow.
Okay, so everybody, it's not overnight. It takes time. 2011, first speaking engagement, 2006. We're about to roll into 2020. So he calls me and he says, Benny boy, he used to call me Benny boy. He says, Benny boy, man, these kids are underperforming. I need you to come fire up this basketball team. So I go to my high school to fire up the basketball team. The kids end up winning the game. We knocked off the number 10 team in the city, and I'm hooked, right? Yeah. I'm like, I could motivate people in sports. It started with my high school basketball team. Yeah. This is now the 9th season I've gone back, giving back to that same high school basketball team, even though I'm still at Alabama, Kansas State, Los Angeles Rams, Miami Dolphins, doing all these things. But don't ever forget where you came from.
No doubt.
And don't ever forget that you don't ever forget that you said yes to the people who made a difference in your life. That book you're holding, yep. That basketball coach is a character in that book. My high school basketball coach is a character in books that I write. Now, think about that. Yeah. Don't ever turn your back on where you came from, and don't ever be scared to face challenge and adversity on your path and to recognize, I'm actually going to look at you guys, where you are right now is part of your story. It's exactly where you're supposed to be. And it's going to give you all of the strength that you need to have cars if you want cars, to build sports complexes in third world countries if that's what you want to do. You'll be able to do whatever you want to do. But you got to get through where you are right now and recognize there's learning for you right where you are.
A lot of people don't realize that, man, because a lot of people are stuck in the past. Oh, this happened to me, that happened to me. A lot of people are victims. How do you deal with the victim mentality?
I think you have to address it head on.
I agree.
So I always like to say, ask questions rather than making statements, right? The more I get to know you, I feel like you and I are probably similar. I want to make a statement. Man, quit being victim-y. Stop and move on. That doesn't work. It's to ask a question and saying, hey, I recognize emotionally something's hitting you right now. Where's that coming from? And then I ask a question, I say, and then their response might be, man, it seems like my whole life, this has happened. And now I can actually coach them. I can say, okay, now you're letting me, I understand your pain. Let me speak to that pain, and let's figure out how we're going to get through that pain or the learning that you may experience as a result of that pain.
That's amazing. That's an amazing. So don't make a statement. Ask questions.
Questions over statements. There's a guy named Max Weber, one of the fathers of sociology, and he talks about the difference of power versus authority. So power is when you force or coerce somebody to do your will. Authority is when you empower or inspire somebody to choose what you know is going to make the difference for them.
I love that.
So I ended up developing with leaders in the business world and in sports, ask a question rather than making a statement. Because my naturalness is, quit being victim, man. Get up and go to work.
But that's me naturally too.
But that's because you and I have been through some shit.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with somebody who the worst thing is the ice cream cone, we gotta teach them.
Yeah. We gotta redirect it. Yes.
Yep.
And that's awesome, man. I think that can work in many different ways. That can work with your spouse. That can work with your children.
Yep.
I love that, man. I think I'm just gonna write that down. Is there any books on that?
Well, Max Weber, the father of sociology, so it's spelled Weber, W-E-B-E-R, mm-hmm. And he tons of research, and that's where I found and spent time researching that and studying that.
That's a great insight. So of all the people that you work with, what thing they have in common that makes them perform at such a high level?
Yeah.
But all the people that you work with, they have to have a commonality.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Awesome.
You saw, I was already lit
up. You're like, yes. Thank you for asking
that question. So it's the seduction of success.
Seduction of success.
The highest performers are not seduced by success. The highest performers are driven by the burning desire and obsession to figure out what does my very best look like.
Oh my God. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but
So Jerry Rice and I share the stage in 2016. And before we head out onto the stage, Jerry looks at me and he said, man, he goes, you know what I've never understood? How could somebody not give 100% when it's 100% their choice?
when the first time you told me that, I was like, I had to sit down for like 5 minutes and absorb that. And then I remember I texted you about it? Because I didn't want to misquote him, because I was writing a post. No, I wasn't writing a post. I was giving a speech. I was giving a speech. And I was like, I got to use that Jerry Rice quote. You know what I mean? And then I was like, but I don't want to fuck it up. I was like, Ben, which was it? And it's so true. Every day you have a choice to half-ass life, or go life at 70% or 80% or not give it your all. But if that's a choice, why would you want to do that?
So Jerry Rice, now he goes out to speak and he gives an example of what this means. What does that mean? And he says, on Sunday, if I had 169 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, on Monday, I was the first one at the facility breaking down game film to identify what was my area of opportunity to do better in that game. Did I miss a block? Did I miss a key block that would have sprung Roger Craig for an extra touchdown? So I don't want to just celebrate. Yeah, he's happy for his accomplishments, but he recognizes that was Sunday. Today's Monday. This is a new work week.
Yeah.
So he's driven by the burning desire to say, if there was an area for me to improve on, I want to know what that is so I can go attack it. When what most people do is they allow their feelings. I always say standard over feelings. The highest performers are not seduced by success, and they drive a standard every day rather than allowing their feelings to dictate how they show up. So how many times do you deal with the individual or the person calls you, sends you that Instagram message, people that you coach, they come up after a speaking engagement, well, Sam, I was on fire. Let me tell you, my first quarter was unbelievable. I killed it. I was 30% ahead of my quota, and these last 2 quarters have been terrible. And you say to them, okay, let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, the behaviors that had you locked in and focused getting the results in the first quarter, on a scale of 1 to 10, how have you been in the second and the third quarter on driving the behaviors that made you successful in first quarter? And they'll say, I was a 3.
Yeah.
Because they were seduced by success.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I've been thinking a lot about me, my life, and have how much I've grown. Me being piss poor all my life. My goal was, oh man, I want to get the mansion. I got the mansion. I want to get the cars. I got the cars. I got the jewels. I got the kids that I want. That kind of stuff. And then I realized that exactly.
Now you have the kids that you want because you got your boy.
Yes, I finally got my boy. You know what I mean? And then I realized, man, that what internally makes me happy is progress. Is to get better every day. I can be and go back to the projects where I used to live and get better every day, and I'll be happy. Or I can be in this mansion here, and I can just not get any better. Just get up and be the same old dude day, and after I'll be fucking depressed. So I'm not driven. I thought I would be driven by this stuff because when you're poor, that's the kind of shit like, oh my God, well, I'm gonna get the Lambo, I'm gonna get the this, I'm gonna get that, When I get, I'm like, no, I'm not driven by that. I'm not even driven. I said, I want to make sure I improve every day. I want to see what my best version looks like. And that's why me and my team always sits down and gets goals down. We reverse engineer how to get there. And every day, like you said, it's a new day, new work week, new day to get better and improve and move on.
So let me share what you shared earlier with me. That burning desire to get better. See, we all can say that, but I want everybody watching to know what that looks like, right? So what Sam tells me is he's in the gym working out at 4 o'clock. You then get through, you're done at 5:30, come back, shower up, get to see the family. Then you go work, as I mentioned earlier, from 7. So it's all intentionally designed. You've created the environment and you understand what the action has to look like inside the environment. Now here's the beauty of this. None of you I can't see you nod your head if you're doing it or not doing it, right? This is like a one-on-one coaching session. Sam and I talking to you. So let's ask you, Sam and I want to know from you, right? We want you to be the best you can be. Do you even understand what the environment is for you to perform at your highest level? And so if you're struggling, you're behind where you want to be, do you actually know what it looks like, what the daily behaviors are? Because if we don't know the environment, we don't know the behaviors, you don't even know what it means to chase your best. Yet we'll say, I want to get better every day. But then our action or the lack of intentionally to environment that drives action actually tells us you don't want it bad enough.
Yeah, I could never understand that. It's funny. I've worked with people where they are so, oh, I want it so bad. Oh, I want it so bad. Here's what I'm going to do. They come and pay for training at one of my gyms. They pay for it. Oh, I want it so bad. They cry in my office. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I need to get in shape. I'm not what I used to be, and I feel bad. My cholesterol's up. My blood pressure is up. Doctor said this, and I can't, run around with my kids. I want to do this. They come for a week and then they disappear. Why? Why does that happen, Ben? Why does that happen? It's crazy because they come in, they pay for the training, they set a huge plan, they're ready to go, and then when actually they have to do the work, nobody shows up.
Because people want the results right now. They don't want to do the work. It's a classic example. Somebody, they go, because here's what they did, right? They come in, they have the conversation with you, so they verbalize, I want to do it. And then they look in the mirror 2 days later, and they say, see, I knew it. I'm not seeing any results. Expecting that it's going to be 2 days for them to see results. Rather than saying to you, hey, Sam, what have you done to get in the kind of shape that you're in?
I showed up for the past 31 years at 4 a.m. I always tell people, some days, I'm a beast at the gym. I go some days I can just throw weight around, I can just lift anything, squat anything. There's days I can't go there and I'm a fucking pussy. I can't lift shit, but you know what? I show up. I don't let anyone dictate. Those are my non-negotiables. My schedule is my non-negotiable. So I know what's the highest and the best use of my time every single day so what I need to do to achieve my goals. And I assign them a day and a time. And when I assign it a day and a time and I plan out my schedule every night, it's a non-negotiable. That's what I'm going to do that day. Non-negotiable. Nothing's going to wear me off from it. I don't care what happens.
And that's the control of the environment piece, which then causes you to take the necessary action, which is all tied to your burn from being in the project, seeing what you saw with your family coming here from Iran, being first generation, and knowing the pain that you have to get through. And that's it. Nobody wants the pain. My mother taught me purpose overtakes pain.
So true.
That's the only way you can explain how in the hell did my mother, at 38 years old, my mom was 38 when she died. So here's a 38-year-old woman coming down the hallway to come to the dinner table with an IV stand to ask me how my day was at school. The only thing that explains that is she knew, and she was explaining to us and showing us purpose overtakes pain. She said, I have to lead my 2 boys. So I am the way I am. I'm wired the way I am because I saw my mother fight through that challenge and pain. That's why I deeply connect to my purpose every single day. Legacy is right on my wrist. I wear this for my mom. So there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about what drives me.
When you have a deep purpose, you don't feel pain. Is that what you do? You do whatever is necessary to cement that legacy.
So I want to capture something you just said. You said, we don't feel pain. Because a lot of times what people hear is they don't go through pain. That's not what you said. Yeah. We still go through pain, but we don't feel pain. And that's why I always encourage people, go find the piece of your story that's going to help you shift your perspective. I call it the power to reframe. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you and I don't experience pain. When pain comes, I shift the perspective and say, if that's all the heat that you're going to bring to my ass, you better come a stronger heat than that, because I watched my mother come to the dinner table with an IV stand, and you certainly aren't going to break me. I will keep fighting.
Do you sometimes have a feeling that you love pain? You know, you could be.
I don't know if it's that I love pain or that I know, because I've been blessed with mentors and coaches, an example like my mom, to understand that I can fight through anything, that I'm not scared of the fight.
You know,
does that make sense?
That totally makes sense, because I'm just looking back and for me, it's like, believe it or not, pain, I'm comfortable when I'm in pain. I've been through pain so much that I understand pain is what's going to drive me to get better. Pain is what's going to take me to the next level.
Make you stronger.
Pain is what's going to get me out of my comfort zone, right? So I've learned to expect pain and love pain and go through pain, and in a sick way, right? And then I'll tell you right now what the most painful thing is for me. It's not fucking getting up in the morning in the cold. It's not, lifting weights. It's not going through adversity in business. It's not, having my house being foreclosed on again and having bankruptcies and the divorce and all. You know what my pain is right now? Sitting and watching a movie. I'm now at a point in my life that I'm fucking uncomfortable when I'm comfortable. Because I've gone through so much shit. And then I also realized that if I want to go to that next level, I got to push myself. So I'm not saying it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just weird. I'm just a weird motherfucker, I guess. You know, 'cause, you know, my wife loves to chill, right? My wife loves to chill. I come home and all that kind of stuff. So in the beginning when we were married, bro, like we would sit down and we were watching Netflix, and I was sitting down there and going like this. I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit. I fucking hate this. I'm like, I need to like write an email out. I need to make a phone call. Fuck, I need to be in the gym, man. I could be doing something. Maybe I could do some leg curls right now. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, man. You know, like, I'm losing time here. What the fuck cares about the fucking Kardashians and the fucking, you know, what I don't, you know? And then I realized that, you know what? What I have to do is manage my time so ruthlessly to be able to get so much shit done between this time and this time, so that I can say, you know what, I can let it go. I can let it go. And that was the toughest thing for me, Ben. And I think at some of the high performers, you would probably vouch for that they're just like kind of now at a state where comfort is pain. You ever experienced that?
Yeah.
Or know people experience that? I know people that there's like, they have the day off. They can just relax, but they just find a bullshit projects to do. Just go fucking, get a sledgehammer and fucking in the middle of the desert. You know what I mean?
So I've found at least for me, there are things, I always stay connected. Okay. And especially now in my world, you know, there's always an athlete that's got a game almost every single day. We were just on vacation down in Mexico for Thanksgiving. We go every year. I worked out every single day. Right, so those are some of those things. I can't turn that off. There's no, I'm on vacation, I'm just gonna eat like a pig. I mean, I eat a little bit differently on vacation, but still eat relatively healthier than most. And I'm gonna work out like crazy when I'm on vacation, and I'm staying connected. Because I have to. But I'm taking that time to be with my kids. We're tossing the football on the beach, we're going swimming, we're getting in the ocean, we're doing all those things. But yeah, there are little pieces that I do, and I enjoy it. Staying connected, right? Getting guys prepped for games, doing all these things. And I feel blessed. I haven't worked in years. So for me, I have such a passion for it. People could be like, you know, were you working? Well, no, I was just getting guys fired up for games, and I watched the game and was watching the guys compete and doing it.
It's your passion.
It's
that's
my
not
passion.
Work.
It's not work. I haven't worked in a long time.
Yeah, that's not work because you love what you're doing, bro. Your passion, your passion has become your paycheck. Yeah. Not the other way around. You know?
And I believe that everybody can have that, but most people aren't willing to fight for it. And I think a lot of people, they hear this part of a conversation like this and they say, no, that's not for everybody. Well, it is if you choose to put in the time to design it, to say, here's what I want, but have the patience to work for it. Everybody wants that body, but how many people are willing to work out for 31 years and eat the right things for 31 years to have that body? I think of my buddy Drew Hanlon. He's one of the top NBA skills trainers in the world. And this is a wild story. Guy gave up sweets at 10 years old because he wanted to be a Division I basketball player. He didn't put a piece of birthday cake in his mouth, no Halloween candy, no birthday cake at other people's parties, no chocolate chip cookies, no ice cream, not one time. Not one time. Didn't eat birthday cake until he was 21 years old.
All right, man. Well,
he lives here in LA, so I'll get you guys connected.
Well, I'll tell you right now, man. You know, with me, it's impossible right now, man. I'm married to Mexican. I'm married to a Mexican woman, and all they fucking want to do is eat. And all they want, everything is food and food and food and food. I'm trying to balance it out, man, between my workouts and all that kind of stuff. But it balanced me out because before her, man, it was all chicken, rice, broccoli, chicken, rice, broccoli, chicken, rice, protein shake, chicken, rice, broccoli, chicken, rice, broccoli. Now I'm like, oh shit, it's bread actually. I haven't had bread for years, man. That's pretty good.
But my point is that if there's a period of time where you have to make sacrifice, make the sacrifice. Because here's the reality. You're so ingrained in your disciplines to stay healthy that the cheating will never keep you from being healthy. No. The cheating is just now part of how you enjoy your life. But so for you, there was a period of time that you went through where you didn't do those things. For Drew, there was 11 years of not eating birthday cake to now understand, yeah, I enjoy birthday cake now, but I'm not eating birthday cake all the time. Yeah. So we know the right decisions to make and to not make. We know we have to make sacrifice, but it's choosing to get clear on what you want and identifying the small sacrifices you may have to go through in order to get what you want.
Absolutely, man. Speaking of sacrifices. What is the number one reason people fail?
They don't understand how to get up off the mat of life one more time than they've been knocked down. Which I think that's what, to me, that's what mental toughness is. That's what keeps people from success. You got to get up off that mat one more time than you've been knocked down. And there aren't enough people who are connecting to that burn. They think purpose, your why. It's just this stuff that guys like us talk about, but it's really empty and meaningless. Yet they haven't consistently connected enough to theirs to realize that might just be the difference for the next time you get knocked down to get yourself up. And the highest performers, they know exactly what they're fighting for.
I'm telling you right now, for people who think that's hocus pocus and things like that, you got to find really what's deep within you. Sometimes you just have to turn things off, go away, and figure what drives you. And when I figured that out, and my why has been my children. Really, because I didn't have a dad. And, we would go to, people's Christmas parties and everybody has toys and nice homes like this. And we didn't have all that. And I always wanted to know, I don't want my kids to, feel like they don't have anything. I don't want my kids to go through what they want to do. So my why, man, is that deep emotional connection that I want to be the best dad, the best provider for my family. And I always say, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. Every time I speak with every time I think about my children and speak about my children, I automatically get teary-eyed, man, because it's got to be strong. Okay. So now you're speaking all over the country, all over the world, man. Do you still get nervous speaking sometimes?
So I don't get nervous, I get anxious.
Anxious. Okay.
Yeah, so let's say if I'm invited to do the talk at a dinner at 7 p.m., man, that drives me crazy. I'm like, give me the 8 a.m. slot because I wake up, I'm going to get my lift in and I want to roll, right? So
you're at top performance at that point.
Yeah, so it's anxious, like let's get it on, as opposed to nervous. Yeah.
Got it. And what are some of your tips for public speaking?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Number one, you got to be you. Don't go be somebody else from the stage. Go be you, right? I mean, how many times these days are we putting up videos and you see people are cursing all the time because Andy and Gary Vee curse? Well, I don't curse from the stage. Occasionally in an interview, I'll drop it. If I'm in a locker room, I curse. But from the stage, my natural communication style, I don't curse from the stage. If I started cursing from the stage, people would be like, that doesn't seem natural to that guy. Yeah. So you have to be you and find your unique voice. The other thing when it comes to communication, I think you have to do it for the right reasons, and those reasons can't be money. I can't tell you how many people say, oh, it looks like a great career path. I'm going to go be a speaker. I'm going to go do this. Go through the adversity and pain that you're going through. Experience your story before you decide you're going to be a speaker. I'm a speaker because of what I've been through in my life. The pain, the challenge, the story had to happen for me to then be ready. So know that there's going to be a timing to be ready. And then the other thing is be willing to say yes. I said yes. I said yes to my basketball coach, as I mentioned, to a free talk. I've now gone back for 9 years, never been paid a dime, and wouldn't take a dime from the high school to go speak. But the point is I said yes. And a lot of times when people reach out, it's what should I be charging now? And I say, well, how much have you ever charged? I've never charged anything. Well, rather than worrying about what you're worth, why don't you just go speak all over the place to the people, the companies, the schools, the kids that are willing to listen to you, and let the money take care of itself.
Hey, if you're that good, you're going to get so booked, they're going to be fighting over you.
That's right.
So, that goes back to be a go-giver, right? Just give with no intention of getting anything back. And if you're good and you keep being consistent, then God will give you that. So
John Wooden, right? We're in LA. We got to talk about John Wooden. So John Wooden, arguably the greatest coach to ever coach anything in the history of coaching, and wrote more best-selling books in his 90s than 99% of best-selling authors. And John Wooden used to say, you can't have a great day until you've done something for somebody else with no expectation of anything in return.
I want to hear that again.
So John Wooden used to say, you cannot have a great day until you've done something for somebody else with no expectation of anything in return.
That's fucking brilliant, man. And
it's how many so people in this entitled world that we live in? I just shared a story with you off camera, right? Of a father who I'd never met, reaches out to me. This is the world we live in. This is what's sad. Reaches out to me and says, I see your work. I'm a big fan of yours, and I need you to coach my son. That's actually what he said. I need you to coach my son. I'd never met the man. So unfortunately, because of my time restraints and the way things are, I've got a guy named Jeremy Patty. He's the president of our coaching operation. He's in Dallas, Texas. We have 8 coaches because I can't help everybody. No. So I say to him, unfortunately, because of my capacity, I'm unable to help your son, but here is free access to our Mental Toughness Academy, which we sell for $400. So here's free access I want to give to your son, because it sounds like he's been battling through a lot, sounds like he's a great kid, and if you're open to it, I'll introduce you to Jeremy to get in touch with one of our other coaches. The guy doesn't even respond to me.
Because he felt entitled. He wanted you, bro. He wanted you.
He wanted me for free. He wasn't willing to accept a $400 gift. There's 6 hours of video I gave him.
Okay.
And that wasn't enough.
You know, we talked about it off camera, man. This is the entitled world we live in. You know, they want your time. They don't want to pay for it. They expect it. They're entitled. You know, but what is Mental Toughness Academy? Because I want it. I want it. I want it. I'm like, you know, forget about the guy, man. I want it. I want it.
You get it for free. I got you.
Take it back from him. If he doesn't want to use it, I fucking use it, man. I love that shit. You know what I mean?
So yeah, so the Mental Toughness Academy, it's, you know, essentially over time, right, there's different things that I've been blessed to read lots of books, great mentors, and we've developed 6 mental training tools that's part of your mental toughness playbook. And we're now in our 3rd edition of the playbook. The original playbook came out in 2015. And now there's a full-blown academy. It's got 6 hours of total video content, 2.5 hours of me coaching people through these 6 training tools, which I use at Alabama, I use with Microsoft, I use with all the big corporations I work with. And then there's additional videos on mental toughness, the interview with Jerry Rice and I from Vegas, my buddy Tyron Woodley, the former UFC welterweight champion of the world, giving a keynote in Las Vegas, an event that we did. So there's all this valuable information for people to break through and figure out. If you haven't connected to that burn yet, we'll get you there through that academy.
I think we're in, man. We're in. Yeah, if that guy take that shit back from him, man, hey,
cut his access off.
Hey, I guarantee
cut his access off.
I guarantee you, man. I will say thank you very much. I'll be very grateful because you know what? I'm obsessed with mental toughness. I'm obsessed with figuring out why 2 brothers can be from the same family, same environment. One brother go out there and fucking crushes it, and one brother just can't seem to get anything going on. That, you know, I'm saying that because I know 2 brothers. One of them texted me today, and for whatever reason, everything that he does goes south. The other brother, everything he touches turns into gold. So I'm just fascinated with this stuff. What is the difference? Same genetics, same environment, same parents, same upbringing. What differentiates that man from that man? What differentiates a guy who goes out there and achieves greatness with very little, with not no physical, with decent genetics, and a guy with great genetics can't pull it off?
It's to me, it's the power of thought and response which drives action. So you got one brother who decided whatever they saw in that house, he decided to look at it a certain way, to choose a certain behavior, thought patterns, which has driven different action. The other brother decided to look at that same environment that they grew up in, and he saw it different. So maybe he didn't see the keys that were lessons. Maybe he saw one thing as a piece of adversity that was so negative, man, nothing will ever be right. Well, if that's what you think, people don't realize what you think and sometimes you verbalize comes out of your mouth, goes back into your 2 ears, and that's your belief system.
That's true.
So one brother probably has a different belief system that drives a certain amount of action, and the other one has a belief system that drives action that's just not going to get you where you want to be.
It's profound, man. I love it. I cannot wait to dig into your Mental Toughness Academy.
You get it for free.
Well, bro, I'm more than happy to pay for it, man. I want to support
you. Get it
man.
for free.
I appreciate it.
Isaac gets it for free. Isaac gets it for free. You get it for free.
Me and Isaac are going to be glued to it because we talk about that stuff all the time.
And I'll tell you what, I am such a giver, all right? And Christmas season is coming. Any one of your followers that sends me, I will give them 50% off. So I'll give it to him for $200. And normally I don't even talk about this stuff when it comes on the interviews.
We didn't even plan on doing. We were just interviewing.
And it was the off the camera when I was telling you about this guy that pissed me off.
Yeah.
So because that guy pissed me off, I will make a deal that if anybody sends me a message direct, just go on Instagram, everything will be linked and everything. We'll make sure that our team gets you 50% off.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Ben, you wrote several books now. Can we talk about your books? I know I have one of them here, Leave Your Legacy. What is this book all about?
So there's 2 books that are fables. Okay, so it's actually a pretty cool story. Another one that ties back to waiting and being patient. So in 2008, I wrote a little quote book. I just wanted to get a book out, so I wrote a quote book. That was my first book. While I was writing the book, Fight the Good Fight, about my mom. My mentor is a guy by the name of John Gordon. And John wrote a book called The Energy Bus,
which
has
love
sold
John Gordon, bro.
Yeah. So John Gordon's been my mentor since 2008.
Really?
Led me to Christ. He's one of the biggest influences in my life. Tremendous mentor. Wrote the foreword for that book that you're holding right there. And so John and I talked through different ideas for me. So I write this book, Fight the Good Fight. Essentially, it's an autobiography. It's about my mom. Instead of chapters, it's 12 rounds like a prize fight. It's got excerpts from my mother's journal, all this stuff in it. So I fall in love with connecting to my mom on a deeper level through the process of this book, right? About a year after writing the book, I say to John, I'm like, man, the book isn't selling. I don't get it. And he said, Ben, he says, sometimes mentors have to tell you the truth. And he said, the truth is you wrote an autobiography and nobody knows who the hell you are yet. It was painful to hear it, right, Sam?
Yeah.
But the reality was it was true. And he said, so here's what I want you to do. He says, I want you to write a fable. Maybe it's some of the same lessons, but write a story. Write a story, develop characters. The characters can be real people that have impacted your life.
He's done the same thing. Because I read all his books. I've read all his books. All his books is a fable.
So that's a fable.
Nice.
Okay, Own Your Success is a fable. So there's 2 fables now that I've written, Own Your Success and Leave Your Legacy, that are in story format so that people can follow the main character, Pierce Edwards, and go on a journey to learn the life lessons that help you break through to your next level.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to read them now. Because I like fables. I like John Gordon, man. You
He's
got to
the man.
connect me with him, man.
He's got a place here in LA too.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to connect me with him,
Yeah.
man. Because I honestly, I have all his books.
Yeah, he's the man.
They're short. They're to the point.
Why do you think I write short
entertaining.
ones?
And you know what? It kind of looks like one of his books. You know, even the look and the feel of it, it's perfect. Well, brother, I really appreciate you driving. Well, you're flying from San Luis up here and then driving from LA to come here. I know you have so much things to do. I know you have a game coming up with the Rams. Is it
Sunday night?
Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday. I'll be watching.
Yep. I appreciate it.
I'll be watching. I'll be rooting for the Rams. I'm a Steelers fan, but my wife is a Rams fan. So it's awesome. We have real fun when they play each other. When Steelers and Rams play.
So a couple of Alabama players that I've worked with, Isaiah Buggs and Minka Fitzpatrick, unbelievable kids. Alabama guys play for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
So I am rooting for a couple of their guys every week.
That's awesome, man. So for those people, Ben, that haven't heard of you, where can they find more information? What are your Instagram handles and all your websites and stuff? Yeah,
so the website is bennewman.net. And Instagram, which is probably my favorite place to really engage with people, is @ContinuedFight. And so @ContinuedFight. And every single morning I'm posting content when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's me, it's what's on my mind. You're getting that. That's kind of one of the first things I do in the morning. I do that.
It's like therapy for you, isn't it?
It's my give back.
Yeah.
So it's my way. I'm going to go and give to people what's on my mind that might help you. I'm going to give it out to the world. So I start with an act of service that way.
Well, brother, this has been great. I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming and sharing your story with us. And man, we got to go back and redo all these quotes at you. You dropped so many nuggets. I have to you got to repeat that again. You have to repeat that again. Truly appreciate you, man. You're an amazing guy. Looking forward to seeing you in the future.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bro.